Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Monday after what I am sure is quite an exhausting weekend for those of you who dove into a lot of college hoops, of course, NFL, NBA. But we've got another week ahead of us here right now, and we got a great college basketball card here. So time to right maybe some of those wrongs or just keep it rolling right through this week, really, the final week. And I can't believe this. We're almost through January of 2022 already. And boy, time standing still for Drew Martin, though, who continues to cash damn tickets. Drew, man, you're like printing money over there, man. Congratulations on another unbelievable, profitable weekend, profitable week. You are rolling, my man. And on a $9 Monday, nothing like it. Talk to us here. What do you got locked and loaded for us today?
Yeah, Joe, thanks. Appreciate the props, man. Got one up for tonight, $9 Monday, like you talked about. Released 5 plays on Saturday in college basketball. Sure enough, going 4-0 into the nightcap, Joe. Had the under in the Arkansas game and got OT'd to keep me away from a 5-0 Saturday in college basketball. But hey, it happens. I'll take the 4-1, man. I'm seeing it well, so not wanting to change anything in college basketball handicapping. Keep pounding these profits. But I'll tell you, Joe, it wasn't all that great. I mean, I did bet the Packers took the loss, and not sure if you checked out Bitcoin or the stock market, but talk about losing some money. So, hey, at least we got college basketball. Always fun to be on with you, Joe. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. It's times like this, Drew. You're glad you're invested in that thing called a mattress. Adam Trigger, what's going on, my man? What is what's happening? Continue, dude. What an unbelievable run for you throughout the NFL. Really, the season of playoffs continue to be gold for you. On a $9 Monday, what do you got coming up this week for us?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, football season's been great. I finished 57.3% in college football. I think right now I'm at 58% for the season in the NFL. 2-2 in the playoffs this last weekend, but 4-2 in the playoffs overall. So football's been great. College basketball, I'm hoping that's going to follow suit here the next couple of months because it's been kind of, split breaking even for the majority of the season. But got a nice winner on Fairfield yesterday. Hope to add to that tonight. I have a play up for $9 Monday right now, but I'm going to give it out on the show. However, I expect to add at least one more for today, and I'll just attach it to that $9 package. So if you did buy it already, I'm going to give out the one I've already got posted on the show today, but I do intend to add at least one more, which you will get when I post it.
All right, well, good stuff there, guys. $9 Monday means best bets $9 over at WagerTalk.com. And I know Tony Mejia coming out of this weekend. He's already ready to go here, looking at the small NBA slate, but it's an interesting college hoop slate here, Tony. So what do you got for us tonight?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, we've got a free play up, which I'll give out on the show as well for those who don't want to read. But if you want to read it, it's at wt.buzz/PM. So we'll knock on that, and it won't be one. It will not be one of the games we're covering. So I have to keep my things straight between this and Gold Sheet. But we'll talk about it at the best bet time. NBA's been really good. NFL hit another 5% play yesterday, so that was good, but lost on the Packers. Lost that nonsense on the under in Tampa Bay and the Rams, which looked great until the fumble happened. So, back and forth. And then college basketball, man, I need to go see a priest or something because my numbers are just slightly off, and that is keeping me from getting going. It's like basically we're digging ourselves a hole and fighting back to get to 500 tops, and we don't want to do that in college basketball. So we will look to straighten things out, and another busy week ahead.
Yeah, and, no better time to start than on a Monday here, guys. $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. And after just a crazy weekend in college hoops, certainly in the SEC, Well, we got another one tonight here we're going to talk about. I believe this is a very rare Monday SEC matchup here with Texas Tech taking on, Florida taking on Ole Miss in this one with 133 as an opening total, -6 for Florida here. Now well, Drew, that has come down. I'm seeing 4s in a lot of spots. I'm also seeing the total crater down to around 129, 129.5. And no Colin Castleton, no problem for Florida, at least last couple of games. I don't think he's back here tonight. So what do you think we're going to get with Florida and Ole Miss tonight?
Yeah, Joe, kind of interesting handicap here in Oxford. I mean, looking at the Ole Miss side of things, head coach Kermit Davis's squad, of course, they've been without their top scorer, guys. Jarkel Joyner, he's been out since about Christmas, and sure enough, they're only 1-5 without him. So that's something I worry about, missing the Cal State Bakersfield transfer there, that a really good player, outside shot at playing in the NBA. And obviously they're struggling without him. Now they are at home. Ole Miss has played a lot better at home. And Florida on the other side of things, you talk about the big kid down low, Colin Castleton, 12-6 straight up. They've won 3 straight, so they're playing a little bit better here. Head coach Mike White, the kind of guy I actually like to bet on defensively. It is a tough trip. The Gators going on the road here. Ole Miss with their top scorer at least banged up. Not really sure when he's going to return. I don't think tonight, but just a game I passed on sidewise here, Joe. Ole Miss in Florida, man.
All right, man. It is kind of a tough spot here. What do you think we're going to get, Trig, from these two teams coming off the weekend we just watched?
Well, Joe, this is my best bet for the show. This is the 4% play I was talking about. I'm on Ole Miss. I took this at 4.5. Yes, overnight you could have gotten 6, probably could have gotten 5 this morning. So kicking myself for dragging my feet a little bit there, not getting into 4.5. Probably seeing mostly 4s right now. Colin Castleton is a massive loss for Florida. I know they've won 2 games without him, but those 2 games, Mississippi State, what a collapse. Like, they just completely fell apart in the second half of that game. And then Vanderbilt's just a bad team. I don't put much stock into Florida winning and covering at home against Vandy. The reality is Castleton being out is going to catch up with them at some point. Like, it has to. He's the anchor of that defense. He's the best player in that. He's the most impactful player on that Florida team, in my opinion. So they're not just going to continue to win and cover games without him. The way I look at the matchup, both of these offenses are bad. So you're probably looking at a lower scoring game, which means each point is worth just that much more. As Drew said, Jarkel Joyner still likely out, but I look at Ole Miss, and I'm just pulling their schedule up here to reference. They are 1-5. 1-5 in their last 6 games, 4-game losing streak. But that was a great effort against Tennessee. I believe that game went into overtime. They hung with Auburn. I mean, they probably deserved to cover that Auburn game. And Mississippi State, they're a team I've liked quite a bit. So I look at their schedule, and I think they've played some pretty tough games. They've played well in a number of those games. They beat Mississippi State by 10 at home. So the way I look at this, Florida's just way overvalued at this point without Castleton because of the 3 straight covers and the 2 wins without him. That's my biggest sort of argument here. Florida is going to miss Castleton at some point. Ole Miss is more capable than people think, especially at home. I think we're getting nice value in the number, and I'll call for the Ole Miss outright win.
Going to Ole Miss straight up. Take it. Outright win there. And how about you, Tony Mejia? No Castleton, no problem still, or is this where it comes to an abrupt end?
It could. I mean, look, I think certainly Ole Miss can take advantage of not having Castleton inside. Jason Chitobo was over 3 bills last year. He's lost some weight and actually had a really nice game the other night, and he's going to be the key to Florida treading water until Castleton's shoulder heals, and we'll see when that happens. They got a game against Tennessee coming up in a couple of days, and then they face Oklahoma State this weekend. So this is a must-win. But this Florida team isn't as talented as past Florida teams. I mean, the most talented Gator from last season is with Oklahoma City right now, and Trey Mann. Castleton was holding down the fort, and then he gets injured. He leads the team, points, rebounds, and blocks. Anthony DeRuigi is stepping up in his absence and really playing sound. But I think that they have beaten bad teams. They should have lost to Mississippi State, and obviously the Vanderbilt game was one where they controlled from start to finish, and you got to tip your hat to that. But again, this is a team that's made up of transfers from other schools, smaller schools. Tyree Andrews Fleming, so not as talented a Florida team. Without Jarkel Joyner, it'll be interesting to see how Ole Miss stands up. But you mentioned whether they can hang around in this game. They can, just because of Nyseer Brooks and then Jamin Brakefield, the two bigs, both transfers themselves. Can they go ahead and match Florida's tenacity on the boards and defensively? I think this is going to be a lower scoring game than expected, so my leans to the under. I can see this getting away from Ole Miss potentially down the stretch, but I could also see them winning outright. So it'll be interesting to see what last five, because certainly Florida needs it more than the Rebels do. This looks like a rebuilding season for Ole Miss, especially with Joyner, the freshman Deshaun Ruffin, that I think everything revolves around him come February with them out of the picture. A McDonald's All-American, Ole Miss, you get him up to speed, and hopefully he sticks around for next season.
All right. Well, the guys, 7 o'clock Eastern time tip there for the SEC with Florida and Ole Miss. We'll head to the Big 12 because this one's going to be interesting too, isn't it? How about Kansas taking on Texas Tech, with Kansas opening up as a 6.5-point favorite? That's been pushed up a little. I'm seeing 7s. I'm also seeing the total came down a hair, also 138.5 in the marketplace here, Trig. So tell me what you think here with a healthy Texas Tech team taking on Kansas, who by the skin of their teeth walked away with a victory there against Kansas State on Saturday. What do we get here?
Man, Joe, I don't know what we're going to get here, because that Texas Tech team that was banged up won this last meeting. So, it's kind of it's a revenge spot for Kansas, but Texas Tech is going to have a couple of their guys back that didn't play in that game. I'm interested. I'm not a huge totals guy. I'm interested to see what Drew Martin, Betts, and Tony have to say on this, but this feels like an under, like a slower pace type game to me. You go back to the first meeting, Kansas lost, so sloppy, turned the ball over, I want to say 17, 18 times in that game. And Texas Tech dominated them on the glass. So I have to think Kansas cleans it up in that regard. And obviously the numbers suggest that Kansas at least has the better chance to win outright here. So it's kind of tough for me to get in with Kansas, because I kind of see a slower paced game. So I don't know that I would be just overly ready to lay that number. So yeah, I mean, just for argument's sake and to kind of take a stand here, I kind of see a slower pace. I think Kansas will be far less sloppy than they were in the first meeting, and I think that translates into this staying under the total. The total seems a tad high, and it's ticked down, and I would even say the under's probably still good where the number's at.
So, do you trust this Texas Tech team on the road in this one here? Are you willing to take the points there, Tony Mejia?
I am willing to take the points, and we'll say this knowing that Texas Tech has only won at Allen Fieldhouse once in 1 in 20 lifetime, and they've never swept the Kansas Jayhawks in a single season series. But this is where you throw trends out the window, especially in college basketball. What the hell does Pat Knight and what his Red Raiders did 15 years ago have to do with this Texas Tech team, especially since it's new and Mark Adams really has this group playing well. They won this game over the Jayhawks without Kevin McCullough, their top athlete, leading rebounder, third leading scorer. At this point, the fact that Texas Tech was able to get Terrence Shannon back, and he looked really good against West Virginia, scored 23, a season high. Finally, through those back spasms, he was absent too in the win over Kansas. That I think to me bodes better for Texas Tech than previous history. Do we trust this particular Jayhawks team? They've got Remy Martin back in the fold, which is great for him because he's been out all season, really hasn't looked like himself at all. Agbaji with the wrist injury, he seems to be past that, considering he was a hero in the win over the Wildcats. So is this Kansas team vulnerable enough to be defeated at home? Sure. And for that reason, I think getting the 7 is generous. So they were 7-point underdogs without those guys in Lubbock, won outright. Now they're 7-point underdogs with those guys on the road at Kansas. They've got to take a couple of punches, obviously, and prove that they can be resilient. But I think they will, and I think they'll at least cover this game in Lawrence.
So the first go around, I guess the thing with this Texas Tech team here, Drew, is they don't allow a whole lot of points in the paint and around the rim here. And yet, I mean, I think Kansas only had 18 the first go around. So something's going to give. You think they can maintain that level of defense on the road in Kansas against them for a second time?
I do, Joe. I really do. And of all the games, this is the most intriguing handicap to me. I mean, this Texas Tech defense, guys, a top 5 defensive efficiency team in the country. And an interesting part of this handicap is, sure enough, Kansas on the offensive side is a top 5 offensive efficiency team in the country. So it's a great handicap that way. Talking about this Texas Tech defense, though, Joe, to answer your question, I mean, they gave up, 72 points to Providence. They gave up 69 points to Gonzaga. And the third highest scoring team against them was Kansas, under 70 points to the Kansas Jayhawks last time out. Everyone else has scored 65 points or less, some of them far less. This defense is for real, and defense tends to travel more than offense. But looking at this game, sidewise, we get Texas Tech 15-4 straight up. They're 12-0 at home and 1-3 on the road. So as we're, a little more than 2 months outside of MLB season starting, talking about home road dichotomy, a big part of handicapping starting pitchers. I think it's starting to become a big part here in college basketball, how teams play on the road. Texas Tech has kind of struggled. They're also only shooting 67% from the free throw line. So that's what's given me kind of maybe making me pump the brakes on taking the points with Texas Tech. And looking at the other side, Kansas at home, a good team under Bill Self, 16-2 straight up. And Kansas over-under, guys, trending 12-6 to the over. So to answer Trig's question in terms of totals wise, Kansas has been a huge over trender. They're just 1-4 last 5 against the spread. So that speaks towards Texas Tech being on the road, maybe looking towards them plus the points, but they're under 70% from the free throw line. Look, I'll take defensive efficiency. I think it does travel. I haven't bet this game yet, but I do agree, Joe, with the line movement towards the under. I think that this Texas Tech defense travels. It gave Kansas problems last time. I think it does so again. So if you make me bet it, Joe, I'll take the under in Kansas, Texas Tech tonight.
All right, looking at the under there. Feels like one of those games where if Kansas maybe gets out a little bit, you're going to get double digits with Texas Tech at some point. If that defense grinds them out, you're going to get a hell of a lot better number after that game starts here than you probably will before it. All right, we got one more game in the Pac-12 here tonight. That's going to be, ACC. I'm actually betting the Arizona State USC game as we speak. So Virginia Tech taking on North Carolina here tonight in the ACC. This opened up with North Carolina as a 4-point home favorite with a total of 141. And if I'm not mistaken, I've seen this move a little bit here towards North Carolina. And I mean, what do you do? 141 still is a total, 4.5 in a lot of spots here. Tony Mejia, neither one of these teams plays well on the road. That's not good news for Virginia Tech. North Carolina much better at home. Do you like them at home here tonight?
No, I don't. I think this game is going to go down to the wire. It's a big game for Mike Young and the Hokies in that, this is year 3 for Virginia Tech. They had a really nice season last year, finished 3rd in the ACC, made the tournament. I thought with Kevy Aluma and others back, Justin Mutz, that they were going to take a step forward, and they've really been inconsistent this season. And I watched them lose at Boston College on Saturday. They were one of my plays, and I expected them to pull ahead at any point in the game. Let's get some stops. They Couture, their 3-point shooter, shooting over 46% from 3 for the season, made 4 or 5. So they were making shots. They just weren't getting any stops. And then all North Carolina fans know that you can say that about any game they play at on the road. At least they're just not getting any stops, and that's been the Achilles heel for Hubert Davis's team in year one in his watch. But this Virginia Tech team has only broken 70 once in their last 6 games. It was in a home win over Notre Dame, so on the road they really haven't been able to get in there offensively. So maybe a porous Carolina defense will allow that to happen. Certainly, UNC goes into Wake Forest in the game that they were an underdog in and gives up 98. So I was on the over in that game. I was happy to see it. I kind of kicked myself that I didn't bet the Deeks as well, but Alondas Williams did whatever he wanted in that game. And I think North Carolina's backcourt is a little overrated. They're playing better than they did last season, but for what was heralded in terms of who was taking over for Cole Anthony and that everything would be all right, those guys aren't getting results. Carolina struggled last year in Roy Williams' final season. They're struggling this season. So I think Virginia Tech in a last stand type of contest at least covers the number. I think it'll be a tight game, maybe higher scoring. Certainly for Virginia Tech to hang around, I think they need to hit the 3. So perhaps there's a correlation there with riding the Hokies in the over.
So it feels like a buy low spot maybe here for North Carolina, Drew. They are undefeated at home. They've lost 2 in a row, both of those on the road. What do you do here tonight with this North Carolina team? Back them or fade them?
I agree with you, Joe. I think it is a buy low opportunity here on North Carolina. I guess, you know, like you talked about, they're 12-6 straight up, but they're 9-0 at home. This is a different team. You know, home road dichotomies. It's starting to come, at least for this show and the games we're breaking down, glaring out to me. Herbert Davis and his squad, 37% from 3-point range, 75% free throws. That might be important tonight, guys. We're seeing this number, in the 5-6 range. So foul fest. Alert here, and sure enough, they hit 75% from the charity stripe, 32 in terms of tempo nationally. So we're going to get a clash of styles here with up tempo and slow it down. And the home team being North Carolina, you'd like to think that they would get a little bit more control of what style of game we play. So I think that helps the Tar Heels as well. And to your point, Joe, losing 2 straight on the road, though, at Miami, at Wake Forest, and giving up 98 points to the Demon Deacons, you'd like to think, you know, if they're ever going to bounce back, this is the spot. You know, you just gave up almost triple digits to a Wake Forest team. Now you're coming back home where you play well, 9-0 at home. I would look for them to bounce back, and especially because on the Virginia Tech side of things, they're under 500 on the road. And to Tony's point, I mean, they're 39% 3-point range. So they're going to live and die by the 3. I mean, if Virginia Tech, if the Hokies are hitting their 3s, we're going to be in trouble here on the UNC side. But overall, I think UNC bounces back here, Joe, in Chapel Hill off of the tough 2 losses. And they hit their 3s and they knock down their free throws as well. So give me the Tar Heels tonight.
All right, taking North Carolina. Trig, I got 1 Va Tech, 1 North Carolina. Break it. Where are you going here tonight?
I mean, Drew Martin Betts is like the hottest college basketball handicapper on planet Earth right now. So I like seeing that he agrees with me here. That's Drew pretty much said he had it exactly. Like this is a good buy low spot for North Carolina. It's a bad match. In my opinion, it's a bad matchup for Virginia Tech. UNC, I think, you know, coming home here, they've been better at home. Virginia Tech hasn't been great on the road, and this just feels like a spot where UNC gets it done. I know that's not the best, most in-depth handicap of the game, but I also think the number's probably right. So you're not going to find me making a bet in this game because I think the number is correct, and obviously there's concerns with North Carolina's defense, but I also think some of that's a focus thing. And after you get blasted like they did, I think they're going to come out, play a little harder, be a little bit more focused on defense. So just from a spot perspective, it seems like a good spot to jump in with North Carolina at home. I like them to win this game. I guess the concern is, laying that number. Obviously, they can win it and still not cover. But if you had to bet this one, if you absolutely had to get involved, I think North Carolina at home, laying the small number, probably the right side. But again, not something I'm going to bet, but lean UNC.
All right, leaning towards UNC tonight, taking on the Virginia Tech. Big ACC matchup should be a whole heck of a lot of fun. Maybe not as much fun as that Miami-Florida State game was over the weekend, but hey, it might be just as fun anyway. A lot of games and a lot of different ways to go on it here on the card. And like we told you guys earlier, it is $9 Monday. Drew is absolutely on fire right now. And for $9, best bets are locked and loaded there at the site. You can head over there. Drew's got one tonight in college hoop. Trig, I think, is about to elaborate here on his 4% best bet already on the show. So you're going to grab that. And you know Tony Mejia is putting together a full card here tonight for you guys to hop on board. So make sure you visit all of them over at WagerTalk.com. All right, Drew, we're going to come to you, best bet time. Before we do, though, my man, and my apologies, I didn't start off with this, but I got to get your thoughts on what is the ceiling for this Auburn team of yours that you have been talking about for the last 3 weeks, and you've been saying, guys, this team is for real. So what is the ceiling for this team, do you think, moving forward?
I mean, I think the ceiling is cutting down the nets when it's all said and done, Joe. I think this team can win it all. You got arguably the best player in the country, Jabari Smith. He might be the #1 pick overall in the NBA draft. You get good guard play. The depth is there. You got the good coach and Bruce Pearl making it happen on the plains, playing in the Pearl, a good home court advantage. Probably top 10 in the country right now. I think they win the SEC. I think they win the SEC regular season, possibly in the conference tournament, Joe. And I see them in the Final Four. I really do. Now, granted, might be kind of my heart talking here, but guys, I'm not looking to step in front of them in a betting perspective at all. I'm looking to be betting them over the total just because they're so talented on the offensive end. And Joe, maybe a way to go after this, and I've been doing this, is looking to bet them over the total. The last 2 times out, I took 1 loss against Georgia because Georgia only scored 60 points. But what I've been doing is betting them over the total because they have so much depth. And Bruce Pearl runs a really up-tempo offense. They're looking to score a lot. So even when their kind of backups get in there, they're still scoring late, guys. So maybe that's a way to go at them because now they're having to lay some hefty wood here as the favorite, Joe. But I know just getting into this, when you were teeing it up here, it was kind of the section where we were like, hey, what did we learn this past week? And I've been talking about LSU under the total and betting on the Auburn Tigers. So it's kind of come to fruition. And I guess I could just segue into my best bet because one thing I've learned here is UNLV, the Running Rebels, Joe, they were a team that dealt with huge COVID. You know, they had pauses. According to Kevin Kruger, every player on the team has had COVID there for the Running Rebels. So that actually sets up well for the second half of the season because now they got the cohesive unit. They've had all of their players at practice. So, hey, looking to buy a little low here on the Running Rebels in the desert. Now, they're going on the road tonight, 9 p.m., guys. And for my best bet, taking the double digits here, plus 10.5, correlates with what I've learned here, the UNLV side of thing, going up against San Diego State. Look, San Diego State's a good team, guys, but they only beat UNLV by 7 points last time out. And last time against them, and their last time out just on Saturday night, they only scored 37 points. So I think something's wrong offensively for San Diego State. I'm not sure that UNLV wins outright, but I think that they stay within double digits tonight. Buy low on UNLV. That's my best bet tonight, Joe.
All right. Love it. The Auburn Tigers cutting the nets down here. Trig, he's going, he's heading out west. You can't argue with it here, but you mentioned the 4% play earlier that you are on there. We started the game off there with Ole Miss and Florida. And before you rehash that, talk to us here about, I don't know, are you still betting Siena for the rest of the season? Just answer me that. I just want to know.
Listen, I don't know. The reason I had come out with a couple plays on Siena is because they were like massively undervalued. They shouldn't be a dog against some of these lesser MAC teams. And they went 2-1 in those games. You know, they beat Fairfield outright as a dog. They beat Marist outright as a dog. And then, they didn't play a great second half against Manhattan on Friday. A couple calls went against them. It was they were +2, +2.5. It was a 3-point game with a minute left. They missed a wide open 3 and then had a questionable, couple calls go against them. So it really depends on what the number is. But I don't really have a strong take either way there right now. I would just say if they're going to continue to be, undervalued and be underdogs in games they probably should win, then they're probably a good team to bet. But I will leave one more opinion. I think a team you can fade going forward is the Wisconsin Badgers. I'm still just beside myself for not betting that game on Friday night. I mean, I've only bet against Wisconsin how many times? And I got to Friday night, looked at it and said, on the road. I didn't feel like I was getting the right number. Sure enough, Michigan beats them, but they're gonna start to trend down. And here's, they've got Nebraska, Minnesota, on the road at Illinois, Penn State, on the road at Michigan State, and Rutgers. So 2 of those road games are tough games. The other ones they're probably going to be like bigger favorites in. I would look to just take the points against Wisconsin wherever you can. I think they're massively overvalued right now. So I guess I'll make that sort of like the what I learned, who I think is a play against, our Monday thing there. And then I'll just quickly rehash. My best bet is Ole Miss. Plus 4.5 is what I gave to my clients, 4% play. Plus 4 is probably the consensus line right now. I think it's fine. One thing I left out earlier, Florida lets teams like play in transition. And I actually think that helps Ole Miss here, being able to sort of get out and run a little bit. I think that's a potential path to victory for Ole Miss. And the biggest thing for me, no, Colin Castleton is absolutely going to catch up with Florida. I know they've covered 2 games without him, but Mississippi State probably just choked that game away. Vanderbilt, one of the worst teams in the SEC. Ole Miss catching points here seems like a great bet to me. I actually think they win the game.
All right, going that route. And how about it there, Tony Mejia? Baylor got right this week. Nobody's talking about UCLA. I don't feel like anybody's talking about Arizona either. But talk to me about one of these teams here that you walked away going, yep, they have found it, or are they still pretenders in your mind, some of these teams?
Well, I would talk about Arizona. Arizona's tremendous. They just won a game without Tabellus, and they let him sit out because they have a huge game tomorrow against UCLA, which I'm sure will be covered on the show. But I will stick in the Pac-12 and talk about Oregon. And I and only I told you that Dana Altman would get this correct, and nobody else that follows college basketball would be worthy of that analysis. No, I'm kidding. Everybody knew that Dana Altman would figure things out with his bunch of transfers, and they beat the brakes off of Washington last night, and they've really got it going in the right direction. Will Richardson, credit to him, has played really nicely as the lone mainstay to kind of get everybody involved and teach them what Altman wanted to accomplish. And after really looking rough for the first few games of the season, they've got it going. They're now 12-6 and have a healthy winning streak going to the point where we can trust them to make the NCAA tournament and continue to play well. They've got Colorado this week, so they'll probably be overvalued there, but I don't think much of Colorado, so I might end up laying the number there. And then they've got another winnable home game. So Oregon has already started getting their act together, and I think that will continue into February. For my best bet, like I said, I'll stay in the Pac-12, Arizona State and USC. And just to take you into my frame of mind on Saturday night, I'm watching the Packers, a 4% play, do what they did to end their season. And in the corner on my picture-in-picture, I'm watching Arizona State and Stanford, and I'm watching Stanford pull away, and I've got Stanford in that game. And then I'm suddenly seeing Stanford just throw the ball all over the place. And then the Packers game ends, and I'm watching the game now, and Arizona State legitimately gets back in the game because Stanford's playing terribly, and the Sun Devils are getting to the free throw line. So they're getting to the free throw line, and mind you, there's a 32 free throw disparity that forced Bobby Hurley to lose his mind in a game where at the very end I'm like, let's get overtime so I can cover this 5-point spread. Either that or let's tee up Bobby Hurley down the stretch so I can get some free points. Bottom line is you get a situation where Bobby Hurley loses his mind because they call a foul. It was a foul. It was. On a three-pointer, Stanford wins the game. He hits all 3 free throws. Their guard, Jay Heath, the transfer from Boston College, third leading scorer, he makes contact with the official. I'm surprised he only got 1 game in suspension. Hurley will be out tonight, and they're at USC at the Galen Center, trying to win a game there. All you need to know about Arizona State, and I don't know which way you made this bet you referenced earlier, is that they disappear in games to the point where, like, you wonder if there's a pulse. Like, they'll sit there and collectively have a brain hemorrhage together as a unit. And this has been going on for years because last year's team was more talented than this one. They had Josh Christopher. They had other guys. and they would just completely lose it. So the best prediction I can make on this show that we can't bet on is that Bobby Hurley will be coaching his last days at Arizona State very soon. Bottom line tonight, though, it is a high price, probably overvalued, but I still like USC to beat Arizona State by 12. You can get the full write-up on my page, wt.buzz/TM.
All right, he's liking a blowout there tonight. USC taking Arizona State. Let's take a look at our friends from the Gold Sheet and see which game they're looking at. Game I thought Trig would have came on top with Weber State here, taking on Southern Utah. But our friends from the Gold Sheet, well, they like the over in this matchup. And like you heard Tony say there, you can read the full write-up if you visit our Twitter page there. We post these up after the show. Weber State taking on Southern Utah. You can read that, of course, by heading also over to thegoldsheet.com, along with all the other write-ups and great handicapping tools available to you at thegoldsheet.com. All right, yes, I was looking Arizona State, USC there, Tony Mejia, but I'm looking at the over here at 134. I think this is, yes, it could very well have blowout written all over it, but I anticipate USC dropping 80, 85, somewhere in that ballpark, and I know Arizona State, what they shoot, 31 of 59, I think they were in the game there, so maybe, just maybe, they might have found a little something. And I say we're going to be in the 140s. At 134, I think the number is a little bit too low here. So give me the over Arizona State and USC tonight. And to recap here, guys, you got Drew and his ridiculous on-fire record right now with best bets in college hoops, guys. He's taking UNLV plus 10.5. Drew 10-2, guys, 83%. Outstanding stuff with a best bet over at WagerTalk.com tonight. You can get it for $9. You got Trig. Oh, he just gave you his $9 best bet here tonight. Ole Miss plus 4 against Florida. Mejia likes the blowout. USC late at 12. I am not arguing with him, but I do think that 134 might be a tad too low. So I am looking at the over. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, Weber State, Southern Utah, over 154.5. And make sure you visit WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of that $9 Monday, guys. All three of these gentlemen, in fact, all best bets at WagerTalk.com right now. Just $9 here on this Monday. And we appreciate you hanging with us. On behalf of Drew Martin, Adam Trigger, Tony Mejia, guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. We'll be back tomorrow talking more college hoops. Until then, best of luck with your plays tonight, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
For a limited time, when purchasing a 7-day all-access pass from either Drew Martin or Adam Trigger, you will also get a 7-day all-access pass from the other for only $1 more. Since the middle of December, Drew has produced 31% in profit and Adam 13% for a combined client bankroll increase of 45%. This combo package will also include any 5% best bets, and you can bet right alongside both Drew Martin and Adam Trigger for only $100 versus the regular price of $198 for a limited time.